My name's Leigh, and today I'm going to take you through a shape adjustment using the razor. This is a common issue we encounter at the studio. Clients regularly come in with concerns about the shape once their haircut is grown out. More often than not, these looks only require an adjustment. This means that you may not have to cut every hair on the head. In this tutorial, I utilize a simple sectioning pattern and disconnection. Before I make any decisions on this haircut, it's important for me to assess the fixed factors, things like face shape, head shape, and hair type. As you can see, my model's hair is sitting quite round throughout the sides and heavily in the center fringe and center nape. This is due to the bone structure, hair type, and growth patterns. I've assessed that there is a widow's peak at the front and a cowlick that sits right next to it. This is the culprit for the weight build-up towards the center. I've decided to add strength to this look by reducing the roundness throughout the back and sides and balancing out the hairlines for a more visually pleasing result. Firstly, I'm going to thoroughly spray down the hair. This will allow me to control and section the hair in a much cleaner and neater fashion. I'm choosing a simplistic and natural section pattern. This will give me maximum visibility and efficiency in the studio. As you can see, I'm working with a slightly offset crown. This will dictate the section pattern of this haircut. I'm going to use the crown as a reference point and take an asymmetric part line that extends to the hairline. This will encourage the direction of the haircut. This look is going to be worn towards the face. Next, I'm going to take a section from the crown to just above the recession point. This is because the roundness is coming from the bone structure and I need maximum control and visibility when using the razor. Repeat on the other side. I'm going to start by taking diagonal forward sections above the ear. The diagonal forward section line will help to encourage the hair to move towards the face. Starting here allows me to dictate the shape and length before moving on. I chose to start here as I believe it's the safest place to do so. This is where the hair is most dense and there are less things to be careful of, like the hairlines. I will then use the razor to slim down the internal shape, being mindful of the exterior edge, pulling my hand away as I approach this area to retain length. The most important thing here is choice of length. Do not move on until you are happy with the desired length. Next, I will take another diagonal forward section moving towards the face. Notice I am not using a guide from the previously cut section. I am using visibility and muscle memory to create this shape. This allows for some extra movement and irregularity throughout the haircut. Continuing on with my diagonal forward section lines, I will repeat this process removing length from the internal structure, being mindful of the hairlines. Once I meet the original section line, I will stop and move on to the other side. It's easy to see now how the bone structure encourages roundness throughout this look. This is why it's important to have maximum visibility throughout the section pattern. Once I am happy with the overall length, shape, and balance, I will move on to the nape hairline. Before I adjust the shape, I'm going to tidy up any unwanted hair from underneath the hairline. Be sure not to cut into the hairline itself, as this will result in an unfavorable regrowth. Only remove what might be negatively impacting the end result. As you can see, the nape drops down to a point in the center. This is due to the hair growth pattern. I'm going to go in and reduce the length and density here to bring balance to the hairline. I'm gliding the razor gently over the top of the hair while securing the section with my comb. Repeat until desired look is achieved. Once I'm happy with the external hairline, I will move on to the front hairline. A similar thing is happening here. Length and density is building up towards the center. Again, I will use my razor to adjust this section, gliding lightly over the surface and securing the hair with my comb. Once I am happy with the fringe area, I will move on to the top. Firstly, I will take a section no wider than the width of my comb through the center of the head. I will use the length in the fringe as a guide for the length in the top. I'm using my stagger tooth scissors to chip away the length behind the fringe. I will work on a vertical plane for maximum visibility and shape control. The shape will be shorter towards the front and slightly longer towards the crown, creating a triangular shape. Notice I am again not using the previous section as a guide, instead cutting each new section on its own. This allows for a little extra movement and texture throughout the cut, adding more personality to the look. Repeat on the other side. Moving on now, I'm going to dry the hair into shape. I'm using my Dyson Supersonic on a medium speed and a medium heat with a concentrator nozzle attached. This method is called wrap drying. I'm using a large paddle brush to cover a bigger area and flatten the hair to the head, encouraging direction as I go. I'm paying special attention to the hairlines. The heat and the brush combined will allow me to control these areas and flatten them down. Once the shape has been dried with heat, switch to the cool air setting to set the shape and flatten the hairlines even more. This is where the concentrator nozzle comes in handy, as it directs the air where you want it to go. Moving into the final stages of the cut now, I will make some adjustments while the hair is dry. I will use my stagger tooth scissors to loosen up any heavy areas starting at the internalmost point of the hair, as this is where the hair is most dense. I will lift the hair up over the comb for accuracy and cut at a slight angle with my scissors. I will repeat in panels around the head until I am happy with how the hair is looking. This is a very visual process and will be different for each head of hair, so take some time to get the look you want. Lastly, I will move on to the top and chip away any heavy areas that don't add to the overall effect of this look. The overarching theme when adjusting density is balance. Once I'm happy with the overall look, balance and finish of the cut, I will move on to the styling. I'm going to be using a matte styling powder. I'm going to distribute generously and evenly over the whole head. Next, I will use my palms to push the product into the hair. Once the product is integrated with the hair, I will use my fingertips to loosen up the hair and create texture. I will open up purposeful pockets and gaps in the hair for a visually pleasing result. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and took away some useful tips and tricks to use in your salon or barbershop. To see more like this, please visit our extensive education library